blue catfish with soft plastic. So I went down to the Academy Sports and bought some Zoom sort of plastic grubs. I think these are 3 inches. They're just a nice big plastic grub. Someone wanted to know. Again, blame the tropical depression, storm, whatever. I can't get out in the water to show you this, but what I can do is show you some of the mad scientist things I do. They just tie this up for what striped fishermen do. They'll always have a bucktail jig of some kind, and then they'll tip it with either a piece of cut bait or a soft plastic. So what we're gonna do, greens and browns and tans and things work well in my waters. Curly tail jig, put it in upside down. You see that will pulse with the water. Be riding like that is what it'll be riding, so it's fine. This is what I want to experiment with. So again, if you're interested in this, I'm going to try to do a whole playlist on fishing for catfish with plastic, soft plastic. You can do that with a bare hook, but I'm going to do it like that, and I'm going to do it with my standard hand line rig. I'm never going to just leave it stock. I mean, I can't. Oh, we got some pickling salt. This is what I've cured my chicken livers with. You've seen me do in the past. I've done cut bait with this stuff in the past, and guess what? We're going to put it right in here. Fish like salt, man, so we're going to load this sucker up with salt. All on that bad boy. Now, I know for catfish, there's always been some controversy or some wondering if iodized salt is bad for them. I've always heard it. I just always go with the pickling salt, or you can go with the kosher salt, just something that doesn't have the iodine in it. So I'm using the canning pickling salt. I always buy the Morton's. Now to this, if you wanted, you could add some garlic to it. Now what I'm gonna do, fish oil that you see me, I'm dipping in stuff all the time. We're gonna put some right in here. It's already getting really watery because it's been sitting out on the boat for I don't know how long. Right, so you got that fish oil in there because those catfish really seem to like that oil. In other words, if you don't have Berkeley Gulp or Berkeley Gulp Alive, make your own. Just get you some stinking fish oil, get you some salt and whatever thing, and make your own. That's what I do, you know. And that's it. That's what it kind of looks like there. And that'll just sit there and sort of marinate. And so you got plenty of salt coming off of that. And you got plenty of oil on that. Should catch us some catfish. But guess what? I can't get out in the river because it's just too dangerous right now. Flood conditions, things like that. Anyway, okay, so I got a couple of books here that Mr. Stange actually sent me these after he saw my floats, and he actually featured my catfish floats in Fisherman. He sent me the entire In Fisherman library on catfish. So I've read these things over and over and over and over, and I'm just now really beginning to put a lot of these principles together and to start to see it. I mean, a lot of what you see me doing, drifting below the dam and hand lining, although hand lining is not in here, the principle of drifting below the dam is talked about. The question someone asked, can catfish be caught on soft plastics? Chapter 6, lures for catfish. You see that worm right there? Soft plastic. You know, and you see this spinner here with the cut bait. If you get on the In Fisherman website, you'll find all these articles, because that's what they do, is just take these articles and publish them. Again, you see what I was just talking about, you know, here, a jig, a bucktail jig tipped with a piece of cut bait. That's just what you saw me doing, right? Dip worm here, you see there's a worm on the crankbait. I can use this because I'm using it for teaching purposes, fair use, all right? Soft bait surprise. You know, Berkeley Gulp is mentioned here, food source lures, fish bites. There's a whole selection of Berkeley Gulps here, fishing baits here, and one is a curly tail grub, just like, I forget the fella who was asking me, but that's one of the soft plastics listed. There's a Berkeley Gulp 3-inch minnow, but it's the curly tail grub. There it is right there, right there at the bottom of the book. So here's a guy with a fly rod and a bunch of flies, right? So what I'm doing is not out of the realm of possibility. It's just that a lot of this stuff doesn't get talked about, and a lot of times people are often limited by what they've been exposed to. And if they haven't been exposed to it, they just assume it doesn't exist. Here's another good book. If you want a book on the history of catfishing, sport catfishing in the United States from, say, about the 1970s up till about 2010, this is an excellent book called Life and Times in Catfish Country by Doug Stange. You know, all along the road to the modern age of catfishing. Really good stuff. See what guys were doing back in the 70s and looking at what guys are doing today. It's amazing to see how much of it is the same and how much of it has changed. Here we go. A lure for catfish. You got whole chapters on this stuff, man. It's just nice, you know. You see some of the same illustrations, right? These illustrations are, you know, the same sort of rig that a walleye fisherman use, and I've just adapted that for what I'm doing. I mean, you got crankbaits, you know, just crankbaits. What do crankbaits are? They're bait fish imitations. Do catfish eat bait fish? It doesn't take a genius. You know, here we go here. Soft plastic, you know, swim baits. But again, you know, right against the crankbaits. So it's just whatever your preference is. So there's all kinds of possibilities. The catfish don't know it's a soft plastic. All they know is it's something that looks good to eat. Don't be limited by what other people say you can or can do, or what you see somebody on YouTube do. If you have an idea, go try it if you can, if you have the ability. Oh, sorry. And then go tell people about it. I just go try this stuff, and I just go tell you guys about it. And people are like, oh, wow. You know, years ago, before I was doing any kind of videos or blogging or anything like that, I remember asking some people on one of these fishing forums about handline fishing. I just remember asking, will this work? One of the fellas there just, you know, call me everything except the white boy, you know. And it doesn't have anything to do with whether handline worked or not. It has to do with the fact that he just can't see any other possibility other than what he's always been exposed to. Well, now you guys are seeing me handline fish all the time with great success, and people don't even question it. After you've had the success, people want in on it, and then, but when you're in the preliminary stages, people have a tendency to want to identify with success, but they don't want to be in the process preceding that. You know, can you fish soft plastics for catfish? Yes. You know, understand something. When I go fishing, I'm not targeting any fish. I'm targeting whatever's gonna bite the hook. I don't think people really get that about the way I fish. I'm only targeting what bites the hook. A catfish, it's a catfish. It's a stripe, it's a stripe. I don't really care because I'm wanting to eat, right? The advantage of artificials is I don't have to spend the time to capture bait, raise bait, or keep bait alive. Artificials can make up that gap, and I have the ability to tie my own flies. You can add some soft plastics, which basically just, to me, simulate cut bait. There you go. It said salty, but there was only like a couple of grains of salt in it, which is like, why are you wasting my time? Just don't tell me it's salty when all you do is put a pinch of salt in it. Put some salt in it, okay? Put some salt in it. Where it's like I can't even see the stinking worm because you got so much salt in it. That's how I know it's salty. But anyway, things like that really get under my skin with the way companies do things. They add a dash of salt, so therefore it's salty. What? You gotta be kidding me, right? If I sold salty soft plastics, that's what it's gonna look like. I mean, you know. So let me get off the soapbox. So I hope you like the video. If you like what I'm doing, go ahead and subscribe. Also hit the bell button by the like. It'll notify you every single time I put a video out. That way you don't have to worry about chasing me down and figure out when I'm putting videos out. Hey, check out a couple of videos here. Maybe have a playlist that you like. And then also too, if you're really interested in supporting what I'm doing, you can either go to my website and buy some of the products that I have for sale. I have a book on Amazon. I have a class on Teachable. And I have various products on Amazon and eBay, plus my website. There you go. Check that out, and hey, I'll talk to you guys later.